pretending he's beside me. All alone, I walk with him till morning.
Welcome to Freaks and Creeks, a Dawson's Creek pageant. The show where 4 contestants who missed the boat 25 years ago go down the catwalk for the first time. Join us as we experience the series with a fresh perspective week to week and see if our adolescent experiences match up with Dawson and the gang. I'm your pageant host, Cody. And let's introduce Stella wearing nothing but a tiara and light-up Reebok sneakers.
Hello, hi, I'm Stella. Thank you.
And Mallory in a gorgeous 3-piece chicken suit made of taffy.
Hello there.
And James dressed like a race car driver with 2 foam fingers and clown shoes.
Vroom vroom, motherfuckers! What's up? I'm James, and we're here for Freaks and Creeks, baby. This week we're going to be talking about season 1, episode 12, beauty contest. Just in case you didn't know from our intro there, but before we get into it, we do have some Cape Side correspondence to get to.
We have an email from listener Chris. He sent us a fan theory.
We love these. Send us more.
Yep, send us more. Kevin Williamson wants us to hate teachers.
I believe it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. So the evidence presented is 1, Miss Tingle being so terrible she gets kidnapped in Teaching Miss Tingle, which is a movie that Katie Holmes is in that Kevin Williamson directed. Number 2, Pacey and Miss Jacobs and Mr. Gold. So the storyline of Pacey, Miss Jacobs, and I'm not sure about the Mr. Gold element there.
Well, I mean, you know, Mr. Gold, he gets in a little fight with Mr. Gold at the movie theater. I added that one in. Chris didn't actually include that, but I felt like it was worth mentioning because he's a fucking teacher. He knows he's a teenager and he's not being, anyway.
Not to forget all the other teachers at Cape Side.
Right.
Just in general.
Yes. Yeah. They're horrible. And then the third one that he presented was The Faculty, the movie The Faculty. Every teacher is a murderous alien.
Yes. And that movie, goddamn, that's like a seminal 90s movie for me. I just remember the Pink Floyd song, The Wall they play in that one. It introduced me to that band. Thank you.
Yeah, that movie is extremely good.
Yeah.
I love that movie to death. Robert Rodriguez movie. If you haven't seen The Faculty, get into it.
You gotta. I wanted to actually just throw a quick shout out to Chris, not just for the email, but he's actually been a day one listener of ours. He followed us over from our initial Reddit post announcing the show, and he's been listening ever since. So, hey, Chris, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Woo! Yay. Thank you.
And the fact that we don't know you and you've been listening since day one is even crazier. So.
Wild.
Bonkers.
Yeah. So wild.
Crazy. Wow.
We love it.
Thank you.
Also, we have a fun new review from a listener in New Zealand. They review 5 stars. As a longtime Dawson's Creek podcast listener and connoisseur, this is just the breath of fresh air I've been looking for. A bunch of newbies to the show giving their thoughts and insights with no knowledge of what's coming up is a really fun listen, and I love the attention to detail and hearing their plot speculations, some more accurate than others.
Mine.
Hashtag Team Joey. Thank you so much, listener. Everything shiny from New Zealand.
Yeah. New Zealand.
A functioning country.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's like.
Well, I mean, it's because they have all the hobbits there, I think. Isn't it run by the hobbits? Wow. Okay. Well, I guess it's time for us to get into the episode then, huh?
Before we get into it, James, did you want to let the listeners know why the sound might be a little different today?
Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. Everybody, if you're listening, well, I hope you're listening at home and not in our home, because if you are here, I'm scared. But if you are hearing a little bit of strange noise in the background, like a high-pitched hum, low-pitched noise, white noise, it's just because we're in the middle of a heat wave and also a wildfire smoke party, I guess. It's a very strange party. So we're doing our best to stay cool in here. Very sorry if you hear any of those noises. Hopefully you can excuse it. I'll do my best to remove it in post, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Don't give us bad reviews, please.
Considering our global heat death, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years, every podcast has a fan blowing behind them.
I think we actually need to get another microphone for our 5th host, which is just a fan. Just a... What do you think about that, fan? All right. Well, on that note, we're going to be talking about season 1, episode 12. As previously mentioned, this is Beauty Contest. It's also known as Pretty Woman. This episode was released May 12th, 1998. And in this episode, Joey and Pacey both enter a local beauty pageant, the Miss Windjammer pageant, which is just such a great name. I love that name. So this episode was written by Dana Barada, directed by Arvin Brown. And I've got a little bit of trivia about this episode when it was released. Like I said, May 12th, the movie on the top of the Billboard charts. Sorry, box office charts. Deep Impact.
Oh!
And I forgot about that movie existing somehow until reading that, and it brought back so many memories. Did you guys see that when you were kids?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
Who
I
was in
did.
that? I can't remember.
Oh, it's Robert Duvall, Tia Leone, and Elijah Wood.
Right.
Are kind of like the 3 big ones, but there's actually a pretty big
It's
cast.
stacked. Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman's the president.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
Who's the crush that Elijah Wood has
Oh,
that they survive at the end? Spoiler alert for Deep
Uh-oh.
Impact.
I will have to pull that up, but it's a crazy movie.
Lily
This-
Sobieski? How do you say her last name?
Sobieski. Yeah.
Yes.
Sobieski, yeah.
Lily
Love her.
Sobieski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also this was did Armageddon come out first
I know.
or was it after Deep
In
Impact?
my head, Armageddon came out first, but I think actually Deep Impact did.
Okay, yeah, it's like the 6th month of
1998.
Meteor movies.
Both. Yeah. They were both that year, but not sure
Armageddon
what
was
month.
released June 30th, so
Ah.
a month later.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I remember them being,
Yeah.
like there being a lot of movies that were like,
Yep. Was Independence Day? I know that's a slightly different take
Similar.
on this, but was that also 98?
No, that was 95 or 96.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, man, what a time for
96.
apocalypse movies.
Yeah, we were just talking about how movies, Stella and I were talking about how sometimes you'll get 2 movies that are very similar coming out in the same year. I remember for all the magic heads out there must have been super stoked when The Prestige and The
Yes.
Illusionist came out in the
Oh,
same year. What were we talking
I
about?
have no idea. I don't
Okay,
remember.
sounds good.
It's incredible. But I agree. It feels like every couple of years you get this cycle of movies where you have at least 2 that are basically the same film. And it always makes me wonder, like, what happened? Did somebody leave a pitch meeting that they declined the film? And they're like, I've got a screenwriter friend and I'm going to give him this idea or them this idea and see what they can do. And then we'll buy that film instead because it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, I had remembered I had referenced the Disney did a live action Jungle Book, but at the exact same time, you had Andy Serkis directed Mowgli, the Dark
Yes.
Jungle Book. But yeah, same year. So
also there's like a couple Pinocchios this year. Speaking of that, there's like
That's
at
it.
least 2.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, because Guillermo del Toro's doing
Yeah.
a Pinocchio, and then there's just the generic Disney beat
Right.
for beat
Yeah.
live action.
Yep.
Full quotes.
I'm really excited about that Guillermo del Toro one.
Yeah.
I want to be
It'll be
scared
wild.
by a little wooden boy.
That original one was scary enough for me.
Well, we know you don't like horror movies, Stella.
Donkeys.
I,
Yeehaw.
I just hope it
Dawson?
goes the same way as The Shape of Water. We get a sex scene with Pinocchio.
Oh, God. Another thing about May 12th, 1998, and this is honestly probably the biggest piece of news ever to come to Dawson's Creek. A very important album was released on May 12th, 1998.
I can't wait to hear.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot by DMX, his mainstream studio debut. And that I bought that album. My dad broke it. He was very upset that I had an album that had explicit content at 8 years old. And
How did you buy it?
I think I had my brother buy it for me, or maybe my brother bought it and I stole it, or maybe one of my, I know I had it through my brother somehow. But yeah, I remember him breaking it in front of me, which is a cycle that then later repeats later on when I bought Limp Bizkit's Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water album. Because the fuck song is the opening track off that. And he says fuck like 36 times or something. My dad heard that and he just broke it in front of me. Anyway, I really like that album because DMX barks like a dog. And I thought that was so cool.
I feel like every song on that record is a single.
Oh,
Because that's
for
what's
sure.
like, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here.
Rough Riders Anthem.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible album. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it and rest in peace, DMX. We miss you.
Is that gonna be your recommendation for this week?
It's an early one. Let's see. We'll have
That's
to wait
cool.
till the end.
One thing I wanted to add to Keepside Correspondence that
Oh,
I forgot was shout out to Wordle this week. Not sure if any of you did the Tuesday or Wednesday Wordle. I can't remember what
Yes.
day it was, but the word was leery.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Really dating
Thank
this
you,
episode.
Wordle. I was very excited when I found out that was the word.
Yeah, it was a little bit of viral marketing on our
Yeah.
part.
We slipped that in there.
Well, this episode has a little bit of everything. It's got just about every ism that you can imagine. There's misogyny, there's ableism, there's transphobia, there's classism. I mean, it's just great. I love all that. There is diegetic music for like a large part of it, including a whole ass musical number that we just heard in the beginning. And there's some legit sorcery that happens in this episode.
Oh my God.
Sorcery.
What did you guys take away from that? Those are my, I love this episode for those reasons. What about you guys?
No notes. Perfect app.
Jesus Christ.
I thought it was kind of terrible, actually.
Yeah,
I felt,
no.
Yeah.
Sarcasm. I thought it was one of the worst.
Yeah. I felt a combo of sad and sick at the end of this episode. Terrible.
I was ill.
Yeah.
I think... So Mal and I watched this after you both had watched this and texted us saying, have you watched it yet? And then you sent us a photo of Cody's face, which we may just have to post on our Instagram as he was witnessing the beauty of our On My Own by Joey. And when we got to that part, I didn't want to watch any more of this show. It scared me. It was uncomfortable. I really didn't like it.
Yeah, when I watched it again, I just really wanted to fast forward through that scene, but I couldn't, I had to watch it. It's rough, though. It's something I never want to hear again.
We're going to hear it a lot today.
Yeah, I know. Then it's going to be stuck in my head for a very long time.
On an engagement entertainment level, this episode was perfect. But for a realistic criticism, I'm going to say this is an abysmal 42 minutes of television. One of the worst episodes of TV I think I've ever seen. I could not fucking believe my goddamn eyes, ears, and all three other senses, or fourth, if I'm Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. The only thing that I can even kind of compliment would be Joey realizing that Dawson is full of shit and turning him down for falling for the facade of her beauty pageant version of herself instead of her. And I thought that speech was really great. But then they completely negate that. And it's the antithesis of the entire episode's themes when at the end they both smile.
Thinking of each other.
And it fades to black, playing one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. I hate almost everything about this episode. I hate the beautiful girl has self-esteem issues, but learns she's beautiful trope. I hate how Jen's arc makes no sense at all. And the only thing that's worse than everything that I've already spoken about is the score is one of the most grating, garish, horrible things I've ever heard. At every moment, it tells you exactly what you're supposed to feel instead of allowing the audience to feel based on the performances or the shots. It is disgusting, and I hate it. It's even worse than the jangly guitars that they used in other episodes to tell us that this is a funny rom-com moment.
I hated that we essentially get nowhere with Jen and Joey. It's like a fake out. They're going to become close, but then at the end, we got nowhere.
To me, honestly, this feels like an episode that should have come in episode 3 or 4, because what happens in this episode? Fucking nothing. They introduce a bunch of stuff, and then by the end of it, they're like, anyway, never mind all that stuff. So why the fuck did we watch any of this? Nothing fucking happens.
To hear the greatest song of all time.
Yeah, but all of that said, I totally agree with every single thing you guys are saying. This episode sucks ass. It is awful. But on my rewatch, I had so much fun watching this episode. It was probably the most enjoyable episode I've had so far. And On My Own is a bop. It gets stuck in my head. I can't stop thinking about it. I'll be working on completely non-Dawson's Creek related stuff. And then just in the back of my head, I just hear, On My Own.
Can we add some beats
and it just
to
fucking goes.
Yeah, let's do a remix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mash
After
up.
this, we're going to drop in our produced remix of On My Own.
In Dawson's bedroom, our hero watches a nature documentary about animals that use the world's boom boom room for procreation. Joey expresses her distaste, and they fall into a discussion on sexual attraction. Dawson thinks it's all about animal instinct, baby, whereas Joey thinks people are socially influenced to be attracted to whatever's currently in. When Dawson pries further about instinctual attraction, she turns away and states she hasn't